Well, he or she has to have the ability to think on their feet. They have to be able to think while they're maybe getting different folks saying different things all at once, and it seems like everything's just flying around in a whirlwind. And you have to pull out the important information and come up with the conclusion and the decision.
How would you do that without experience if he or she is new?
Well, there you start asking some of those questions.
Okay.
A lot of times the first thing you do is, how are we going to get this done? And if it's a foreman that's been on the site for a long time, if it's somebody that's been at it for a while, how have you done it in the past? Mm-hmm. Usually gets you started in the right direction. Most of the time you're going to have some supervision behind you.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to see how well you can communicate with folks. You have to have a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of you can't be too rigid that you can't work well with a bunch of different types of personalities. Out in the field, you're going to find folks that are high school education, junior college education.
No education.
No education. You're going to find some folks that have that do nothing more than want to work that 1 week to get their paycheck so they can go back and not take the rest of the week off, and they're going to be gone. So they're not nearly as motivated as the C-level guy that's hoping to eventually work his way up to crew foreman. So you have different levels of motivation, different levels of people that will respond to you. You have to find out what those different techniques are that get somebody to appreciate or to understand what you're trying to get accomplished.
Now, what if the project manager himself or herself is not motivated?
Well, if the project manager is not motivated, then you've got a problem with the project. The project is not gonna have a successful conclusion, probably.
He or she is a leader, in a sense.
You have to be a bit of a leader. Yes, you will be. You will be expected to make some decisions. You will be expected to communicate, and you'll be expected to anticipate. You're going to want to think about, okay, today we're digging holes for the foundation. So that means I need to make sure the concrete company is lined up, that if we've got a big project, make sure they've got enough trucks on hand, or if they've got, maybe they're doing a highway road as another project, and you're just a small single-story 30 by 40 building. If you haven't talked to the concrete company that this is when we think we're going to be pouring concrete, get to the time where the crew's out there ready for the concrete truck, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't get to you today. I can get you tomorrow. I can get to you the end of the day." So you want to anticipate some of that, what's going to happen next week.
Is this organizational skills?
Organizational skills, right. You also want to keep in mind some knowledge about where the pieces are coming from. Now with Lester, we supply an entire package. So it all comes at once. So there's a lead time from the time it's ordered to the time you're going to get it.
Okay.
If you're parting and piecing your packages together, whether it be trusses from one source, roof trusses from one source, siding from another source. Some companies you may find that I can always get my plywood siding, but in order to get my roof trusses, they're 6 weeks out. And as the summer wears on, maybe they get to 8 weeks out.
Yeah.
So almost you have to think timeline back to your organization. Where am I going to need my staging? How am I going to sequence the project? And so if this project's only going to last 4 weeks and it takes 6 weeks to get something, I better have had that ordered, or I better maybe not start that project until we're sequenced in.
I know that Lester is very strong in GIT, just in time.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Just in time is simply not stocking the inventory. Having the materials arrive right when you're ready to use it. Ideally, you would reach for one board, cut it, and then there would be nothing behind that other board. And as soon as you reached back, that cut was done, the other board somehow showed up. And so you never had a stack of boards behind you. You only had the board you were ready to cut.
Okay.
And that's the ideal. Now, of course, nothing's ever ideal.
Yeah, yes, I know.
So you balance with what do you need to have on hand to get the job done, but you don't want so much inventory.
Yeah.
The more inventory you have, the more money it costs.
Yeah.
From a project management standpoint, where the other factor is not only does it cost you money, but when you're out on the site, the longer it's out there, the more chance it's going to get stolen, it's going to get run over, it's going to get blown over, and just disappear, get damaged, get muddied up,
Yeah.
and then the customer's not happy.
Yeah.
So sequencing and staging becomes critical on the outside from a management standpoint as well.
Now, is there any magic formula for GIT, just in time, and GIC, what I call GIC, just in case? How would you balance this and this?
Just in case would be for the, well, in our case, we know that there's going to be, thunderstorms are going to roll through, and they're going to produce hail, they're going to produce high winds, and so on occasion, a sliding door may come off a building, a piece of steel may come off a building. So for, using your terms there, the just in case, we carry 26-foot lengths of steel that we can cut to shorter lengths and send out on a common carrier truck so they can get it, next day if they had to, or the next few days, and get it repaired, get it fixed. So the things that you're going to need, you want to look at what are your critical components. What do you need right away? So just in case items in my mind would be something that's going to if your forklift or your crane is going to be unoperational for a day or two, whatever that belt, pulley, filter, that would be some just in case issues. Just in time would be some of your more expensive options, things that you don't want damaged, that you don't want sitting around. The roof trusses would be, or a building package, for instance. You really don't want that sitting out there until you're ready to start building it. But you're not going to have a just-in-case issue where you have a spare building sitting around someplace.
You can't do that.
That's a little too pricey.
Now, with the just-in-time principle, you really need to be expert or competent in managing people, managing time, managing money, just scheduling and budgeting,
Right.
and people.
Right.
So how would you do this successfully? How do you juggle these together and make the right decision to do it just in time?
Well, I think if you write a lot of the things down, on the calendar, there's computer programs that do scheduling, just some kind of a format, and it may just be something simple enough where you mark out the key delivery dates or key needs that have to be met. We do it here with just a key of items on our board. It's a magnetic board, and we just have little colored squares that indicate when the steel needs to be ordered, when long lead time materials need to be ordered, when engineering needs to be done, just so that we can ship that project to the builder when it needs to be done. It's nothing fancy. It's just a pretty simple,
This works. I mean,
simple
it's
deal.
something that works.
As long as everybody understands it, and as long as everybody uses it. So if you can have a system and a method, but if no one uses it, then it's not going to accomplish its purpose either.